And welcome to Quarterfinal B of the AoE2 Definitive Edition Noob Cup. We have Supermud in the purple playing as the Teutons, my boys. And we have Statistic in the orange playing as the Bulgarians on Hillfort. Jonathan, what do you think about this matchup here, Hiram?
So, considering the early aggression is obviously going to be limited because of Hillfort, and especially with the advantage that the Teutons get with their with some of their unique technologies, I favor the Teutons in this matchup. Having said that, there's a very easy world in which the Bulgarians can take that just because of things like the Krapos to lock down those early resource nodes. Along with the map control that the Conic gives. It's going to be an interesting matchup one way or the other.
One of the things that I find fascinating is how similar the Teutons and the Bulgarians are. Both have a very strong, kind of a defensive focus. I think both civs like to go cavalry, even though the Teutons don't really have a... it's just the Teutons have the +1 armor in the Castle Age and +1 in the Imperial Age for their infantry and their cavalry. So,
Kaiser, you're not streaming.
I'm not. Oh, hey, that would be something to bring in there. Let's see. I am recording it, so we're fine. But let me stream that live for the audience here. There we go. All right, back to where we were. So again, I find them both very similar. They both are very defensive-oriented. With the Teutons, you have the murder holes right out of the gate. You have the extra armor on your units. They're slower but stronger. That kind of is the Teuton style. And then for the Bulgarians, you have the Krepos. You have the cheaper and faster blacksmith techs. I think, and one of the things that's interesting is this quarterfinal B series is played immediately after the quarterfinal A series, and Supermud and Statistic got to watch the last game. So they may have learned some lessons from the match between Kalimitar and Knights. And I think as a result...
has to be blacksmith.
Say again?
I said, and one of those lessons has to be blacksmith.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So I think if Supermud was paying attention to that, I'm sorry, if Statistic was paying attention to that, well, really for both of them, but for the Bulgarian player in particular, if he's paying attention to that, that will be very important and very helpful for him. I'm expecting we will probably see more aggression from these two players than from the previous two for no other reason than that this pair got to watch the last set of games and they were listening to us saying, hey, we want more aggression. There are key moments you need to strike. I think we're going to be seeing that. We have Supermud with the Teutons already teching up with 13 vills.
And already on gold.
That is a very fast feudal age. The vill count worries me. It's great to tech up, but one of the things you have to realize is technology by itself means nothing. It absolutely does not matter if you're in the Dark Age or the Feudal Age if you can do nothing with that tech upgrade, right?
Absolutely agreed.
The question is, how much can Supermud do by teching up this quickly? And I don't know the answer. He might have something.
Yeah. Just looking at the unit dispersion, we have Statistic already on gold as well, with only 20 villagers.
Yeah.
But he's got significantly more on food.
Yeah.
He's also building a second lumber camp already. I would expect Statistic to go kind of a fast castle build. And if he does, that has the potential to really outplay what Supermud has just done.
Let's turn on Fog of War here. Of course, both players have kind of their main base hidden from their opponents by the Fog of War. So... Let me switch over to and no, I will give Supermud this. He has scouted, I think, more of the map than Statistic has, and I think that does give him a small advantage early on.
Yep, I will agree with that.
Both players
going into the feudal age, and the other thing too is, if you're able to take advantage of some of the earlier upgrades, again, we're playing this at the noob level, so some of the upper echelon min-maxing doesn't come into play. Yeah, you and I both know that going more villagers earlier is a good advantage. But at this point, Supermud has the option to get the tech upgrades. And if he manages to keep his TC from being idle from this point out, it could play in for him. I wouldn't do it, but it could work out.
And Supermud on that blacksmith, I'm imagining him. He must have my voice from the last set in the back of his mind, going, get those blacksmith techs. He's over there thinking, yeah, I gotta get that blacksmith down right away. I want to make sure I get those.
Well,
techs.
I know your voice plagues me every time I play. Why don't you have ballistics? Where are your blacksmith techs? I will say here, Statistic is building a little bit of a house wall around his base, and I understand the mindset of it. But I've got to say, I think that putting those houses around the perimeter of the palisades is a better use of space. And
he's sort of cutting off a lot of real estate he could be using. He's also cutting himself off of the wood line, which if he wants to stay in his square for as long as possible, he's going to want to use that wood. He's even blocked off the I think they're ibex. Yep. He's even blocked off the ibex here from easily being able to collect that with some hunters, which is something he may want to do. I think Supermud lured in the boar. Good job for him. That was really well done. I don't know if he's going to take advantage of the ibex or not. I think he did earlier, wasn't it?
Yeah. Supermud has only 5 on food.
Yeah.
And Bill count aside, that really concerns me. No matter what age you're in, if you've only got 5, now 6 on food, you're not going to be able to keep your TC going and your military.
This was one of those things that for me, when I was starting out playing the game, learning just how important it was to put more on food, more on food, more on food. I would often think, okay, I've got like 8 on farms. I'm surrounding a mill with farmers. That's got to be enough food, right? Now I can get on to the other stuff. I want gold, I want wood, I want stone. But realizing, I think Noah Statistic here has overall not just a stronger economy, but probably a more well-balanced economy.
Right. And we see here the 2 mining camps. Both resources, that's gonna pay out big, especially as it comes to the later battles. Get into Castle Age, the ability to drop down a castle the moment you tech up versus having to wait to sell or to mine the resources. It makes a big difference, if you can't do anything with the tech up. And here's another thing for Statistic. You'll notice he's built a lumber camp outside of his base. Of course, Supermud has, or looks like he is too. Both of them, I respect this a lot because the tendency is to be like, I'm safe inside my walls, let me stay here. And you're cutting yourself off at the throat. You've got to be able to expand and take advantage of those resources.
I agree that the way this map works is how. It's not a question of if. It is a question of when and a question of how do you expand out of your box, out of your walls, and take advantage of the rest of the map. You simply don't have enough resources to win the game in that box. So it is a matter of expanding out efficiently, effectively, taking advantage of those resources. And you're right that both players seem to recognize how important it is to build something outside of the walls. I agree. That's a good move for both of them.
We have Statistic going up to the feudal age now with a vill count of 32, and some militia on the board. I like this move.
Yeah.
I would have probably gone up a little earlier, but he's getting his eco pretty squared away before he moves up. And with the militia he's got already on the field, he can respond to something the Supermud throws.
I think that one of the other things I really want to credit Statistic on is he didn't panic when Supermud hit the feudal age as quickly as he did. It would be an easy thing to think, oh no, he teched up faster than me, I've got to tech up now, and throw everything into just teching up. But it seems like he has a game plan of building a lot of vills and getting that strong economic foundation and then moving from there. Like right now, he just used up a lot of food to queue up 12 villagers. So he's really going hard into the eco.
On the flip side, we have Supermud going into
Castle Age.
Now.
So there is going to be a huge tech advantage for Supermud. This is big, and this might genuinely scare Statistic a little bit, because
Agreed.
if Supermud can take advantage of Castle Age by getting out some knights, some of those Castle Age level units, and breaking through the walls, he could do some serious damage. But
not only that, but
eco
a
difference.
second TC.
Yeah.
If he can get on the stone and he can
Yeah.
get it going, he could recover from his earlier Vil count issues by just getting a second TC up
Right.
and then churning it out.
Right.
Both has the tech advantage and could quickly turn a Vil advantage. Statistic over on his side has already teched into Man at Arms, although no blacksmith upgrades to support, which is fine at this point.
I want to point out, Supermud just discovered Statistic's exposed woodline here.
Yeah.
So he knows that's out there, right?
Right.
And if that's something he may consider taking advantage of later on, if he sees it, if he does something with it, that's an option. Statistic does not see what Supermud has out.
Right. What I would like to see from Supermud right now is another town center right now.
Yeah.
Just decked up. He has the resources for it. Throw down another TC. Maybe down in the southern part where all that wood is, or on a gold line somewhere. Do it. He's buying stone for gold, which I don't think is the right move, but it does indicate that his mind's in the right place. He does want to get a castle or a town center, probably a castle, because he already had enough for a TC.
Yeah.
Supermud having...
You said that he had enough resources for the town center, but that was just before the farms depleted, and they needed to be replenished. So a lot of wood had disappeared going back into those farms. It's going to take a little bit of time for him to either he could buy the wood, or he's going to need to hack some trees, and it's going to take a little bit of time. If he even does that, he may be committed to a castle.
On the flip side, we've got the eco upgrades coming in for Statistic, Horse Collar, Double Bit Axe, and Wheelbarrow, along with the first tier infantry upgrade. I'm liking that.
Oh, and he's going on the offense. You got to say, I mean, Statistic, he has the larger Vil count. He's got the larger army. So right now, I think all of the cards are in Statistic's hands, even though Supermud has the tech advantage. Right now, Statistic seems to be coming up trumps. A watchtower, though, may... Again, and it's not that... If Statistic knows what he's doing, he could just move around and attack from a different side, but it's possible that just seeing the watchtower, just being attacked at all, might scare him enough to back off. If he attacks from that corner, then again... Right. It looks like he won't.
But that's the difficulty, right? When you throw it on a watchtower, yes, you lock in that corner, but you also prevent yourself from vectoring those resources to any other corner. It's the opportunity cost.
Yeah.
And there's not, it is not as if there's only one avenue that is worth covering with a tower.
And here comes Statistic with the Castle Age, with the stone mining tech, and with forging. Once again, I said it before, I'm going to say it again, the blacksmith techs, the Bulgarian has it, the Teuton does not. Yes. And that's honestly, that may be because he doesn't have much of a military. He's got some militia out on the field, but
I will also say, even though they're fortified palisades, men at arms, especially this many men at arms, can knock a hole pretty decently.
And Statistic makes the right move. He got shot by the watchtower, but I think, and maybe this was partly because of the angle by which he attacked, but he realized I can just move over to the left a couple of inches, and now I'm fine. And now this tower is not really protecting anything. It's protecting the wood line, but otherwise...
Right.
You're going to get Supermud off of these farms. He has to retreat. And that means no food income.
Yep.
They're hiding in the town center. Kudos to Supermud, by the way, for not using the town bell. That's something that we saw with the last match as well as this one. And look at this. Thanks to the Bulgarian unique ability to automatically upgrade your infantry, we have longswordsmen versus militia.
It's going to be a slaughter.
Yes, the Teutons do get that +1 melee armor, but it's not that good.
No, it's not. And, of course, the fight happens while the men-at-arms upgrade is coming in. If he had been able to just pull back to the town center,
if he had pulled them back
15 seconds and then take that fight, it might be at least...
I think he still loses the fight, but it would have gone better for him than it did. Yeah.
Especially if he can lure the fight under the town center, where he's got that cover of the archer support. Where it's at right here, he definitely has control over the the map so far, looking at the military sliders, only 1 unit available for Supermud versus 14 units available for Statistic. Statistic has the ability to push him completely off of gold, completely off of stone, and it'll take him too long to redirect. This is why one of the reasons I would have liked to see another town center. And even now, if he could sell and buy the resources necessary, getting a second town center up right now would be critically effective. Even if you put it right where the old mill used to be, it makes a huge difference. As it stands right now, Supermud's just not able to respond, not effectively. Meanwhile, while all of this goes up, Statistic moves forward with that forward cray post. And again, he's locking in that control. He's got the map.
I do find this fascinating. Supermud here is building a castle right in the middle, in between the two. And I'm kind of torn on that. On the one hand, it could theoretically shut off reinforcements coming, at least from the A to B path. You know, he has to kind of navigate around that castle. But on the other hand, again, the castle doesn't really seem to be protecting anything or defending anything. It's just sort of there. I would have much rather seen the castle move south a little bit so it defends the gold and the wood line. You could build a TC, you know, around that castle. You know, or maybe you can't really build it more offensively. The incline of the hill keeps the castle from being built on the hill.
Some eco kills coming in for Statistic. Via Supermud. Not as many as you would think, but some. Here's one of the reasons that castle, it might work out. Again, you know, without the min-maxing at play. For one, a few Teutonic Knights turns this entire infantry fight on its head.
That's true.
That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, if you're auto-pathing your units in, you're going to have to come right underneath that castle. Yeah, it's not where I'd put a castle. But again, that doesn't mean it won't work.
Yeah. I gotta say, though, there's one thing that really has me concerned for Supermud here, and that is this idle TC time.
Agreed.
One of the things that is a difficult thing to learn is I'm being attacked, so I gotta deal with the attack, right? And I gotta hide villagers and move them around and everything, but even as I'm being attacked, I have to keep producing more villagers. You know,
well,
I think... Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, even if he doesn't get villager kills, just stalling the economy, just forcing that town center to sit there and do nothing while your economy back at home continues churning along, you don't have to kill anything to make that a successful raid. You win that fight just by making this TC go idle 3 times as long as your own idle TC time.
Well, and we can see that Supermud has idle villagers inside his castle with no enemy units anywhere near. And that, to me, is just a little...
With any other Civ, this is a good move, but the Teutons get murder holes right out of the gate when you hit Castle Age.
Right.
And so that means I don't know. I think these infantry die. Even if not.
Yeah. Maybe a saving grace for Supermud. The other thing I'd like to point out is we've got another TC coming in for Supermud.
Yes.
In addition to his castle, and that's considering
that's
he has his first one up, admittedly idled, but up, means that the hit is not as far as not.
And you called it. We have Teutonic Knights coming out, and going on the offense. I like that. I don't know if I'm not even sure that's the right move or not, but I like that move.
Right. As a very wise friend of mine once said, sometimes you just got to step into the swing and say, no, you die.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, I think just putting some pressure on Noah, making Statistic realize you're not going to get this win for nothing, you know?
Right.
I liked it. Now, he's got to be careful. I mean, will Noah garrison... Oh, okay, no, don't attack the town. Don't attack the town center.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you got to move. Idling the villas are good. That's the right move, but Teutonic Knights are slow. They're good as counters to longswordsmen.
Yep.
But no, you want to... Okay,
well, and if you look over at the eco, Supermud still
he needs to turn and fight this. Turn and fight, man. Yeah. Yes. Okay, here we go. I think the Teutons win that fight. Oh, maybe they don't.
Blacksmith upgrades are huge, and long swordsman into non-upgraded Teutonic Knights.
Yeah.
Or at least only moderately upgraded Teutonic Knights. It only
Yeah.
does so much good.
And he does. He pulls it off. That's still, even without the blacksmith techs, that is still a win for the Teutonic Knights. You cannot underestimate how good they are in one-on-one, two-on-one melee fighting. And what's happening here is Conics coming in. The
Conics trying to knock down the town center, but not enough, not fast enough.
Oh wow!
But some Vil kills coming in for Supermud, and again, I like that. I like that he's forcing the idle eco time. It's hopefully a way to level the playing field. It's not a level playing field, but it's enough to hopefully level it off. If he can keep the TCs producing, which he's not. Yeah. But if he could. And that's a big deal.
On top of the idle TC, he has forgotten about the 9 villagers that he has hiding in the town center. So, and there they go. There they go. He needs to put them back on the farms right away. And
on the flip side, we have a Krapos coming in for Statistic.
Yeah,
and
he has 2 up now.
I don't think it's a great placement because yes, it does plug one hole, but it doesn't actually cover very much, and that's a lot of stone. Just throw a gate there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, so if you're in Statistic's situation, let me see. I mean, I don't know if they have the scoreboard on or not. So I don't know if Statistic realizes he's this much ahead. He may have seen the attack come in by the Teutonic Knights and think, wait a minute, I'm not as ahead as I thought I was. I need to be worried about getting raided. I want something to kind of help dissuade him from thinking about attacking me again. And let's see. I see that he has scale barding armor coming in. Does he go on to pick up his Castle Edge blacksmith text? That's something I am going to go and winning so handily. It's taken him a long time to move on to the next blacksmith text. He's floating a lot of food. He's got, he's using his gold, which is good. But he's floating a lot of food, floating a fair bit of wood. He should be, and I see he just popped down. It looks like another Krepos, I'm guessing. Let's see, where's that Krepos? I saw the... oh, is it? Yeah, okay, he's building a town center. Building a second town center, that's a good call. So I want to see...
the third town center coming in for Supermud.
Yeah, so I think that there are a couple of things that Supermud has going for him that if he turns on the gas could actually bring him back into this game. The fact that he has multiple town centers, Statistics still doesn't. Let me see. I think you're a little bit further ahead than I am, so I'm going to speed up. Yeah, there we go. Not much, but you said that, I'm sorry, Supermud has a 3rd TC coming up. Where are you seeing that?
It is kind of in between their bases, near the wood line, on the northwestern side of the map.
Are you
in the northern quadrant?
I mean, that looks like Statistics Town Center to me. If we're looking at the same thing.
No, you're right. It's Statistic.
Okay, all right, good. You had me confused for a second there, but yeah. So Statistic is making this now a 2-town center versus 2-town center game.
Maybe I'm just colorblind.
Did you know you can? If you're using Capture Age, you can click the names. Let me see. Click the names in the kind of the bottom corner to change the colors.
Oh, nice.
I think
that's handy.
Yeah. We got some good Halloween colors here, purple and orange.
There we go. Yeah, he was purple on my screen, but I've changed it to red and blue now, just to make it easier. One
of the things I also think that's been very helpful to Statistic, well, I guess no, he's the Bulgarian. One thing that would be helpful for the Teuton player, for Supermud here, is the Teuton farms are cheaper, significantly cheaper. Correct. It's a lot easier to mass up those farms. So, he's sitting on 300 wood. He could throw down, if I'm remembering right, it's under 40 wood per farm for the Teuton player. So, I'm thinking he probably could get near 10 farms thrown down just off of the 340 that he has right now.
At the same time, we're looking at a 32 vil count versus a 62 vil count.
I mean,
it's... you can throw down the farms.
At this point, You know, I was predicting early on that we would see more aggression, and I think we did. I mean, we saw some infantry come in from Statistic. We saw a counterattack from Supermud, but now it's sort of in that situation where I think they're falling back on Statistic is wanting to get that tech advantage. He's wanting to make sure that he hits Supermud with the strongest punch he can before moving out and actually fighting this.
Yeah. Which I think as far as Statistics play, yes, I would like to see a little bit more aggression, but I think it's the right play. You know, he controls the eco right now. He controls the age. If he knew what I knew, yeah, there's no reason to go force a fight, say, under that town center or castle right now. Get a couple trebs up and then deal with it.
Yeah. But here's what you
First
do have to know.
Coming up for Statistic.
Yeah, I noticed that, and here's what I'm predicting. All right. You know, Statistic, if you look at the Fog of War, he sees almost the entire map. I think does...
Right.
So does Supermud. They both see almost everything. But Statistic sees the castle in the middle, and that's probably in his mind. He's worried about it, right? I don't think he wants to just swing around past the castle and attack whatever's back here. He wants to deal with that castle. So he does also see that he's got the Crepost near the Teuton base, and he's able to take the stone, take the gold without any kind of pushback. I think what he wants to do is he wants to get that castle up, he wants to get some trebuchets down, and he wants to take out that castle before steamrolling. Oh, here we go. This is massive. Big fight here.
Here we go. Now, it's worth pointing out, especially for the people who don't know, he's got the elevation advantage. You deal more damage from higher up, and so take that fight from a higher elevation, you're going to do more damage.
You know, I think the Supermud does have the infantry armor techs from the blacksmith. He invested into that. I think he wins this fight handily. This is a really, really good fight for Supermud. And all of a sudden, he has a larger army and a much higher gold efficiency value for his army. This was massive, and I do not think Statistic expected that.
You've got to respect the Teutonic Knights. You have to. They have so much armor, they have so much attack, that yes, they're a smaller force, technically speaking, but they do real work.
Yeah.
The other thing that you've got to...
with the latest... I was just going to say, the latest patch, they've been buffed, so where they attack harder and they have more armor. So they are very, very strong, and you can't really go into a one-on-one melee fight against them.
I would love to see him garrison them in the castle for the healing. Again, that's kind of a next level play that we won't see often at this level, but I think here it would be crucial. You know, a horde of mostly weakened Teutonic Knights versus a horde of fully healed Teutonic Knights is an entirely different fight. Conversely, I'd like to see some monks from Statistic.
That could be an option. Yeah. Now, do remember that the Teuton player has increased conversion resistance. So it's not as good of a move against a Teuton as it might be against some other civs, but...
Conversely,
they are very slow.
The Teutonic Knight uniquely, are they more resistant to conversion or less?
I believe that's true for the entire faction, yeah.
Yeah.
But the main thing, though, is even with that conversion resistance, that's just to counteract the fact that they're so slow. And so I think that it still would be a fair response to convert a couple of Teutonic Knights. That's definitely a possibility. What I would say, I mean, Statistic, he's the Bulgarians. They actually don't have half bad Cav Archers.
Right.
And you could go Cav Archer. You know, archers are the counter to almost everything Teuton, specifically to the Teutonic Knight. And while the Bulgarians, other than the Spanish, are the only civilization in the game that do not get crossbowmen. They're stuck on archer. So, you know, you can't go foot archer, but the Cav Archer is not half bad, and that would be a good option.
Right.
For dealing with...
We're looking at Supermud, who has one relic so far, and it looks like there's one yet to be unclaimed. Or, I'm sorry, two relics so far.
So I want to give Supermud credit. He just got Forging, that feudal age attack tech.
Yep.
So good for him. On the flip side, he just lost his monk, and he just discovered the castle, which got in a lot of free hits. Supermud on the attack. Again, I like this. I want to give credit to Supermud for putting on the attack making Statistic feel the pressure. Yes, Statistic has 46 more vills than Supermud, but if he can continue to take better engagements, better fights, villager count isn't everything. It's a lot.
Right.
It's not everything. And see, here comes
Well,
Statistic
and
now
we
with
have
2 Conics. What are you going to do with those 2
military
Conics?
Advantage.
Yeah.
I want to point out, it happened so quickly, it was hard to point out in the moment. Statistic garrisoned right when his villagers were threatened, and then ungarrisoned right when they were unthreatened.
Yeah.
Versus leaving them in their
right.
for quote-unquote safety. I like that. That takes some getting used to, and it's a good play.
Yep. Agreed.
Statistics selling food for gold. He needs the gold.
Yeah, I want to give Supermud again some more credit here, where he has doubled his food count. Earlier it was like 8 or 9. Now we're at 15. He needs to keep that number going. He needs more villagers desperately, but
at the same time, he's still at a 2-to-1 disadvantage to Statistic in vill count, 85 to 40. That's going to continue to make it hard for him. I'm liking the aggression. I'm liking the targeting, hitting the opponent where he's weak, not focusing on the castle, not focusing on the Cray Post, but going, hey, there's a town center here, maybe some villagers.
Yeah, do what damage you can with what you got. Yep.
Kudos to him.
Yeah.
At the same time, we're seeing trebuchets for Statistic. They've not been deployed yet, but they will be soon.
I don't like this.
And here we go.
Chain barding armor coming out. What are you looking at?
Trebuchets coming in from Statistic.
I do not like this. I don't like this at all. Like
me either. They're unprotected.
Yeah.
So Supermud could move south and destroy them, but will he get to it in time? 4 trebuchets.
He's got to move.
Fast.
Yeah, they do take him down awful fast, and those knights, if they could be there, they would do some serious damage, but they're just so slow. The castle goes down.
So slow.
And
the castle will go down.
Yeah, I think that. I believe the Teutonic Knight still wins this fight.
I agree. I think they'll get 1, maybe 2 trebuchets before they get underneath the shelter of the town center. Conics coming in to deal with the Teutonic Knights. I like Statistics retreat. I wish he'd pulled him back towards the castle, but hey, you do what you can with what you have.
Yep. Yeah. Again, another good fight for Supermud here. Yep. I mean, he loses the castle. I think in the long run, this probably was a win for Statistic, but Noah Statistic here's. I'm sorry, it's a win for Supermud, but Statistic is just not building the right units to counter the Teutonic Knight.
Yeah,
I think he's hoping to use that eco lead to just build more Conics and overwhelm him with numbers when the right kind of unit could take out the Teutonic Knight.
Agreed. And it's actually favoring Supermud in the matchup so far because, well, yes, Statistic does have the eco advantage. Supermud's trades have been superior in combat, largely. So leverage that eco appropriately.
Yeah.
They both have 2 relics with 1 yet to be unclaimed, so effectively nil as far as gold advantage goes, barring units. And yet, we have
here we go. This is big. Statistic here is now wanting the momentum back. He has the eco lead, and he's wanting to do things with it. I like this move.
I do too. Go for the heart, knock out the TC, gut the base, and then take it over if you have to.
The question is, does Statistic realize he loses this fight, or does he try to fight it?
I don't know, but he's about to get hemmed.
He's pulling out
on the anvil.
He is pulling back, and that right there, I think that move probably wins in the game. If he realizes, he beats me in a one-on-one fight, but I'm faster than him, and I have a much better economy, so why don't I just take these guys and raid, where his Teutonic Knights aren't, which is exactly what he's doing right now. Or I thought it was.
Sets up the trebuchets underneath the cover of the castle. Here we go. We're probably going to see
every day you see.
Fight.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
I expect that Supermud takes a Pyrrhic victory here.
I agree with you. Yeah, I think he still wins this, but not nearly as decisively as he had been.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Statistic
again,
taking another strategic retreat. Well done. Good for him.
Statistic pulls out. Yeah, I think that these are the right moves. I don't know how Supermud comes back from this. If you're in his shoes, the only thing you have to do right now, you're still on 15 food, and you've got 2,000 food in the bank. You need to turn.
Right.
You need to get these things moving. You need to be churning out vills like nobody's business. I want to see 30 on wood. I want to see 30 on food. I want double, triple that gold count. And then when you've got the economy to support a big army, you can start, taking your military wins. And I want to give him credit. He has absolutely made the right moves militarily. But turning that into, real advantage instead of lucky skirmishes.
The army still marches on its stomach in this game, as in as in real life. And if you don't have the food to support it, if you don't have the ability to feed it, then the army will eventually be whittled away.
Right. I mean,
I don't like this fight for Statistic. It's not the right fight.
Yeah.
At the same time, there's something to be said for just keeping the momentum. Yeah, you can afford the losses when you've got 83 vills versus, 15, 16, 20, 40 vills. 5 on food versus 36 on food. Statistic could take this, could send everything he's got, lose it all, and have an army just as big in 2 minutes. Whereas Supermud doesn't even have a castle to build Teutonic Knights out of.
Right.
So each one that falls isn't largely irreplaceable commodity.
I want to give both players credit, and I don't know whether this was maybe part of watching the first quarterfinal set, but both players went for relics, and that's really helpful, especially when you've only got 8 on gold for Supermud, you've only got 11 on gold for Statistic. Every little bit of gold counts.
Yep.
Oh, okay, town center goes down. I think...
Now, if you're Supermud in this situation, build count aside, what do you build?
Wow, archers as students. That's an interesting choice. Why archers? So the Teutonic Knights are a good call. I would probably spread them out. I want knights. You've already got the chain barding armor upgrade for them. I want something with some mobility to counter what the Bulgarians are doing. I don't think archers are the right call here. You have not teched into archers at all. They are still feudal age archers. They don't really counter the conics very well. I mean, maybe if you had arbalest or something, they would. But I mean, you don't have an archer ball. You don't. It's just not. I think Supermud is sort of desperate to try to do something to shake the game up when really he has control. I mean, he's won. I'm sorry, he doesn't have control, but Supermud has won these engagements with the right kinds of units. He just doesn't have the economy to build more. I want more Teutonic Knights. I want to spread them out to cover more of my part of the map. Build knights to go attack Statistic. Try to interrupt that economy while you get your own economy back up and running.
Right.
Yeah, this is...
Just looking at the positioning, Statistic has 3 castles in a town center kind of hemming Supermud in. There's not much you can do to hold on. It's a stranglehold. He's cut off his air, and it's...
Yeah, what is it you say all the time? He's out of air, altitude, and ideas, or something like that?
Out of airspeed, altitude, and ideas.
Yeah. And that's kind of where Supermud is right now. He's holding on. He's building another castle. He had to, if I'm correct, he had to use the market a lot to get that stone. Correct. But take a look. Take a look. He has mined out all of the gold on the stone in this corner, and he's boxed in. If he moves south, there's a castle there protecting all of this stuff. If he moves, to the east, he's got the town center. There are no options for him. Now we have Statistic raiding, and this is going to be a very effective raid.
Yep. And the thing that we run into all the time, people treating a castle like it's a superstructure, and in a lot of ways it is. It does have a lot of attack. It does have a lot of range, etc., etc. At the same time, a castle can be raided under. Ask any Aztec player or any Mayan player. You can raid under the fire of a castle.
Yeah.
It doesn't guarantee strength, and as soon as you get trebs up, yeah, that castle will stand for a little while, but it won't stand for long.
Right. Right.
So building a castle here, if nothing else, put it on that elevation if possible. Obviously, I don't have the building placement, but I think there's at least one section on that elevation where you can place that castle and get the attack bonus. Where it's at right now, you're going to have an attack advantage shooting down onto it from his old fort. It's just not a good placement.
I mean, I agree that he could have moved it up a little higher on the hill and gotten a little bit more of a bonus, but that's definitely kind of on the smaller scale of things compared to the issues he's dealing with right now.
Agreed.
It's,
I have to
yeah,
say,
look
though,
at this.
I liked many players, myself included, have this I'm being attacked, therefore I defend.
Yeah.
I've really liked Supermud's I am being attacked, therefore I attack back.
Yeah. No, I agree with that 100%. That is
mindset.
absolutely a winning approach to this. I agree that was kind of the right sort of move. It's just the economy wasn't there. Even now, I mean, the town center's not doing anything. He's got all his vills hiding in the corner. I think he knows this game is done. He's just waiting for one last glorious charge.
Right. Maybe it's the tactician in me. I don't like how a lot of the fights Supermud has been taken have been on the lower elevation. I mean, even where he's staging his Teutonic Knights, get him up high, give him the elevation advantage.
Supermud calls the GG. He is absolutely right.
It's been game over for a little bit, but
that's game one.
Huge respect for holding on.
Absolutely.
There's nothing more disappointing than seeing a player who could come back just give up because they feel like they're behind.
Right. And I think even looking at this game, and I think we're going to see this in game 2, I predict, but even looking at this game, I'd say that Statistic had the better situation, a much better economy that just led him to being able to grind out a win over the heavily armored Teutonic Knights. But there were things that Supermud did that were right on the money, exactly the right kind of plays. Raiding, aggression, those were the right sorts of moves. And there were things that Statistic was doing that were definitely areas for improvement,
Agreed.
But it's just hard to beat doubling the economy. And I think that was before the fighting even started. I think it started out with that early infantry attack on the town center. I don't know that he ever really recovered from that initial fight. Just as far as using your town center again, that took a while. And the Vil count is just insurmountable.
And looking at the economic statistics on the in the post game, Statistic in some areas had triple, and one almost quadruple. It looks like the production, or I'm sorry, the eco that Supermud did. And Supermud still managed to trade even in multiple fights. Imagine how different those fights are if they're if Supermud's playing with an even eco rather than an eco from behind.
Check this out. Supermud only lost 11 more units than Statistic did.
That's incredible.
And that goes to show you, the power of Teuton armor. That goes to show you how he was absolutely winning fights. It's just, with every loss Supermud would take, it was that much more devastating than what Statistic was doing, because Statistic had control of the map. He successfully boxed Supermud in, and he's just able to replenish the gold, replenish the food so much faster. Yeah.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. And you said it back when you and I both started playing competitive. A lot of games just come back to that Vil count. Pure and simple.
This game is a classic example of why I say it's not everything 100% of the time, but you want to look at that idle TC count and you want to look at those Vil counts, because more often than not, those are the tea leaves that will tell you who's going to win this game.
Right.
Yeah. Here we go with round 2 of our AoE2 DE Noob Cup. Supermud versus Statistic. The rematch is on. Supermud playing as the Vikings and Statistic as the Cumans. Oh, this is fascinating. Now, here's what's interesting about this. So, I'm really fascinated about Statistic's Cumin choice. Cumin's is another Civ that I would not have expected to show up in this tournament, let alone so early.
Right.
Because they have abilities and bonuses that are fantastic but hard to use. I mean, you can put down a second town center in the feudal age. How are you going to use that? Or you can put down battering rams in the feudal age. How do you use that? It's very easy to mess up your approach that way.
Correct.
Meanwhile, Supermud with Vikings. Vikings are another Civ I think do make sense in this tournament. The free wheelbarrow and free handcart right out of the gate for the Vikings as soon as you tech up will be very useful for building an economy. And I think that if Supermud is on his economy this game, then it's going to be much stronger than what Statistic can field. But we'll see. Luring in the boar. I like that.
Agreed.
Oh, but Avil goes down to the boar for Supermud.
And then back to sheep.
That's
This... No, don't do it. It hurts. It burns. It freezes.
Yeah, we'll see if he gets back on the boar or not.
Meanwhile, we've got idle eco for Statistic over as he moves into lure in his boar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which you get that many villagers idled for that long, it equates largely to a lost vill. What I like to do is I redirect my villagers to trees while if they have to wait, make them do something. Don't just lose that time.
Yeah. I'm going to give credit to both players for luring boar. That's something that when DE first came out, I don't think luring boar was kind of a sign of 1,000+ elo, to my knowledge. And since then, because the game has become more popular, more people have picked up on that skill, but it's still something that marks players who know something about what they're doing versus those that really don't. And so the boar lures are impressive from all 4 of our contestants thus far. Everyone's really been on that. That's been really good.
It shows that they put in some time beforehand because, again, they're doing this without any kind of real ranked experience. So
I want to point out,
because
I'm imagining Supermud will come back and watch this game and I'll wonder, well, what's the problem with what I did with the boar and the sheep and everything? Animals decay. When you kill an animal, they slowly lose food just by being dead. And so what you want to do is when you kill, you want to focus on one animal, and when you kill the animal, or maybe 2 animals, but focus on 1 or 2 animals, and then get the food from that animal as quickly as possible before that food slowly drips and decays away. So that's why you want to have vills on the boar.
Right.
Otherwise, if it was just standing there, then you're fine. So
seeing some idle eco for Supermud. Idle TC time.
I'm keeping an eye on the idle TC time. So far, it's pretty even. Maybe
pretty close.
Yeah, 20 seconds difference for Supermud, but not a lot. We're going to want to see if that number skyrockets for either player. We'll find out. Right now, Statistic has a 3-vill lead. Oh, yeah.
If you'll notice, Statistic doesn't have a gather point set for his villagers, so they're idling as soon as they come out.
Yeah, this is something that is an area for improvement. They pop out and then they wait. They sit there. They do nothing, and now it's mental bandwidth that you have to dedicate with every single villager that pops out. Send them there. Send them there. Send them there. Instead, just select that TC and right-click onto a tree or right-click onto a gold. And the town center will continue to send villagers in that direction, so they're doing something, until you decide. And if you accidentally send 1 too many on wood, well, at least they were doing something. You can have them drop off the wood and then go back over to food or gold or whatever you want.
Right, exactly.
But better than to have them just sit there, do nothing, and then you got to command them. Remember to command them every time with every vill.
Another boar coming in for Supermud. I like it.
So do I.
It's not the optimal timing, but it's good timing.
Yeah. Now what needs to happen, okay, he's got to go back and get the 50. And you can actually see, you can visualize the food whittling away before any villagers get to it. That's just decay slowly draining the food. So, yeah, you definitely want to try to. I'd say that
I will say
that's
this-
good though. I like he got both boar. I'm happy. I'm not going to focus on that too much.
And I'll say this as well. I appreciate him going for a lure rather than trying to be super safe about it, right?
Yeah,
Like, again, in my experience, I remember where I was too, I don't know, scared isn't the right word, but I'm like, I don't want stuff to decay, so I wouldn't lure boar. I'd just build a mill next to it, and that way I wouldn't have to deal with it, right? I was timid. Maybe that was
Right.
the better word.
right.
Just too timid. And I appreciate a player going, no, this is how it's supposed to be done. Maybe being suboptimal about it, but doing it anyway.
Yeah. You know, so I think we're kind of seeing a replay of the last game with one big difference, at least as far as the early stages. Supermud techs
Right.
up into the feudal age with 13 vills, which is very fast for, typical time ups. Most of the time, people wait until around at the least 19 vills before they tech up. So we see a very fast tech up, and now he's got the feudal age. Will he do things with it? You know, I think Statistic, on the other hand, is going heavy into a lot of economy before he decides to tech up. But there's one big difference, and that is that we are not playing on Enclosed anymore. We're playing on Oasis. And so, you know, we actually see Supermud here with his 4 militia. If he decides to go on the offense, there are no walls keeping these militia out this time.
Right. The other thing worth mentioning is teching up a little early as the Vikings is not as bad as teching up a little early as other civilizations because
That's
you
very
get the free
true.
eco upgrades.
Yes, that's very true. An extremely good point. Also note, by the way, so we see Statistic, and to his credit, he's kind of building a house wall sort of thing here, but there is a hole in that wall. It is not connected into the forest like he thinks it is.
Yep. The other thing too is he's building it the long way. He's building it along the hypotenuse, not one of the other legs. And I think he's redirected a little bit, but you know, you could connect it to that tree stand in the northwest, and it would be a shorter wall all told and easier to defend. But hey, at least he's building a wall. I like that he's building a wall.
Yeah. So the question for
Statistic on
Supermud,
all 4 resources versus Supermud on only 3 of the 4.
yeah, but I don't. That by itself, I don't mind so much. I think it is a mistake to get onto stone too early, because
I agree.
any villager you put on stone is a villager that's not on food or on gold or on wood. And early on, wood, food, and gold are way more important than stone.
True. Don't get me wrong, I agree, but at the same time, Statistic, because he's not neglected the TC as much, you know, he has some people on all 4 resources while still beating Supermud on everything else except gold, which okay, fair.
No, I mean, I agree. Again, there is this question of the 11 vil count difference right now. I think Supermud either has to do something with the militia, get them out, get them moving, get them distracting, or he needs to focus all in on the economy. And
there they go. They're moving out.
There they go. Let's see. Now the question is, did Noah see that? Did Statistic see that?
I don't know if he saw that, but he might get hemmed in. Nope, he's not going to get hemmed in. But he also, I don't think he's going to catch it on the way out.
Ooh.
I have to say,
and the attack here.
Yeah. They turn. He's idling the villagers. If the villagers just turn and attack the scout, they'll beat him. So they don't really have to be afraid. It's just a scout.
Meanwhile, an attack coming in from 5 militia up into the Cuman base. I have to imagine Statistic is on stone early in order to afford... Well, that's strange, because he already has the stone for a second town center, but maybe he thought...
Well, and he did it last game when he wasn't playing the Cuman.
That's
so
true.
I think it's just a reflex play.
Yeah. He finds some extra sheep.
The militia are coming in. They're going to spot the barracks, and they're going to spot the stone mining. See if we can get a Vil kill
okay,
here.
so this is going to be fascinating. How does Statistic handle pressure? Now, he's already got queued up. What is that? Like, whatever. 14 Vils.
Statistic garrisons in. His entire food eco is low.
Yeah, this is good. This is good for Supermud.
Yeah,
I don't know if he
this is
town
great.
belled or not, but he garrisoned everything.
Yeah.
Oh, and now what Supermud has to realize here, this is the rule of raiding. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. It is not about getting kills, per se. It's just about distracting and drawing out for as long as possible that eco. The fact that he's getting kills is a bonus on top of things.
Right.
So we see, wow, great. So, this is massive. This is massive.
This is huge.
I see Supermud with 10 villager kills to Statistics 1.
Yep.
That is fantastic. If the two players had the same Idle Town Center time, Supermud is winning this thing hard. The problem is...
Well, and it's worth pointing out, Statistic didn't get a villager kill. The boar got the villager kill.
That's true. Exactly. Right. So as far as Statistics is concerned, it's 10-0. That's demoralizing. And that's really big for Supermud. That helps keep him in this game. The problem is Supermud is sitting on nearly 11 minutes of Idle Town Center time to Statistics 4 minutes. And that means even with losing 10 villagers, Statistic is still up 6 villagers over Supermud. So Supermud has to make sure he's staying on this town center. He's continuing to produce vills. I think that we're all this way when we start playing Age of Empires. I know I was. There's this temptation to think 30 vills, 40 vills, that's enough. And it's just not. You need to go up to, 80 vills, 100 vills, more.
Well, it's like the
vills.
mathematical equation. How many times do you have to fold a piece of paper in half to reach the moon? And it's not as many as people would think.
Yeah.
The ability to compound on top of yourself is enormous, and villagers provide that compounding rate. So a person with 30 vills versus 20 vills, you'd think, yeah, it's just 10 vills, but no, that's a lot of units per minute. It makes a huge difference as the game progresses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We have Supermud moving up to Castle
how
Age.
The scouting is continuing.
Mm-hmm.
Second TC for Statistic.
Mm-hmm. So we got that special Cumin Town Center coming up. Good for him. So he is, and this is important. I mean, Statistic is using the benefit of the Cumin Civ. I think that is important. It is kind of slow in my opinion. He's got a single vill going out to build it, and I mean, I don't know. It will go up, but I just would have preferred to see it go up faster. Supermud with a wall. He's going to try to block off that entrance. I think a defensive play is the wrong move here if you're not going to pick up your economic speed.
Well, and not only that, but against the Cumins, I think that the Viking play was good precisely because early aggression beat that second TC.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to give him space to build that second TC, it's going to cost you.
Yeah.
And like you said, that TC will go up. I do like its placement. It's placed near gold, stone, and wood.
I agree. That is a well-placed town center.
Resources, that's a great placement. It's also placed along the short axis. It's pretty easy to defend.
If I were to be pedantic, I would have put the town center on the other side of the golden stone, closer to the.
Oh, I would agree.
The wood line, but I agree that if you have 3 resources with an easy access of that town center, that's pretty good.
Yeah. The other reason I would put it a little farther up is it'll be a lot harder to slip stuff by it versus where it's at. But little things, these guys, they're playing, on less time than you and I have. And for what they've got, I've got a lot of respect for it.
Yeah.
The early aggression is something that I still struggle with.
Yeah.
I like seeing it from Supermud. And the early TC, I think the Cumin pick against his opponents, knowing what he knows about it, I respect that a lot. The Cumins is a really good play here, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is going exactly the way you want as a Cumin player. As the Cumins, it's sort of interesting because you have 2 options. You're a feudal age player for sure. You do your best work in the feudal age, but you can choose one of two approaches. Because you have cheaper archery ranges and stables, you may choose to go heavy into a scout rush or an archer rush, and it costs less than it does for other civilizations to make a move like that. So you have a good offensive feudal option. You also have a good economic defensive feudal option by going for the second town center in the feudal age, when for any other civilization, you have to wait till the castle age to build more TCs. And that means, of course, you can start pumping out more villagers faster, and then you have a big economic boom heading into the castle age. But typically, you don't have the room to do both. You got to choose one or the other. And I think Statistic has gone all in on the defensive option here with the economic opportunity. He is producing villas out of both town centers, so that's really good, and I think this is going to work for him.
I agree. We have
now,
the defensive castle coming in.
I was about to say, yeah, I like that. This is a well-placed castle that's covering the gold.
I would prefer it probably closer up to that hill. Again, I really like taking advantage of elevation when you can, and in this case, you could without losing much. But hey,
don't you think though,
where it's at?
If he puts it on the hill, isn't that too far south to protect the northernmost parts of that wall?
Sure, but where it's at right now is too far north to protect the southernmost parts of that wall. So if I were doing it, I would have placed the wall just a little bit differently, and still place the castle on the hill. And I think right here, well, yeah, it's easier to, there's a direct line into the base that the castle is intercepting.
Oh, wait. On the west, we have a scout rush coming in.
I see it.
And just when I was saying... Does he...
If he gets that second house,
he's not going to say that.
He needs 2 more houses up. If he can get it, it'll be huge.
This is a moment right here. Will Statistic move? Will Supermud finish the wall? Who decides to pull the trigger first?
Yep. But again,
both players are distracted.
Statistic has the eco. He has the initiative. So what we really need to see from Supermud is to build that wall. Okay, we've got a wall coming in. I don't think it quite closes it off yet.
Yeah, no, it does.
2
it
more
does.
Bits. Yep.
Oh, and Statistic gets distracted, or I'm guessing the AI gets distracted by the scout.
Yeah, they picked up on it.
Yeah.
But as it is, Supermud avoids disaster, gets the wall up.
Yep.
Awesome. Now, not that I'm rooting for one of these over the other, but I have to say I do like it when one manages to successfully pull something off, be that a wall or be that a raid. Noah's surprise blown by the scout. If Supermud's paying attention, he knows. Supermud also bringing in both the berserks and the monks, which is a little surprising, but I like it.
Yeah, now monks is an interesting choice. I'm going to assume that he's going for relics, because they both did that last game, and that was to their credit. Monks, I think, are a very good choice when you're dealing with castle age knights. Where you've got 3 or 4 knights coming at you, and they're threatening to do a lot of damage. All that power built up in just a few units. That's where monks shine. They're at their best.
Right. But I'm looking here. Look at this. Noah's about to break through with just his scouts. There's a villager who can repair. But will he get to it in time?
Oh, no.
About 5 more seconds. I appreciate the early aggression from Statistic. There's a wall here. Never mind. We'll cut it down. Come on.
Yeah. That is
Berserk's moving in to intercept. I don't think they'll be fast enough, but hey, we will see.
Yep.
Monks on standby. Well, what do you know?
Yep.
And of course, the advantage to the Berserk is that they heal on their own. So whatever damage Statistic did is completely undone.
Right. I gotta say, I think that is a win for Supermud. Yeah, you lost a Vil, and losing a Vil costs more than just the 50 food. But when you do the math, that was how many? Like 5 scouts? down
Six,
versus
5 or 6. Yeah.
if you're sacrificing 6 scouts for 1 villager, I don't think that's worth it.
Well, and I have to say, Supermud is costing himself vills by not building them, right?
Yeah.
So that's the bigger cost. If Supermud was building the vills, keeping the TCs running, etc., that 1 vill would be meaningless. As it is,
Yeah, and look at that. He's going for the relics. Good for him. Good for him.
agreed.
He
Good for
should
him
know. Let's see. And Superman
now, what
knows
I
where all of
expect
the
from
relics are.
Statistic here, just if I'm to project, he's kind of leaning into the Cuman's theme here. I think he's going to go Cav Archer.
He might. He might. And if he does go Cav Archer, and that's kind of what I was saying, is I don't know about this composition with the monks as far as a military unit goes. If Statistic goes Archer, monks really are not the right choice. And Berserkers and Men-at-Arms, infantry, they both are not good choices. Skirmisher is a really good choice.
Agreed.
If he techs into Skirmisher, that's a big win.
Skirmisher's definitely a good choice here. I don't really understand why he's going into Longswordman. You don't need militia tech. You've got Berserks. You don't need militia.
Yeah.
It's a waste of resources. But hey, he might be just trying to diversify his options, doesn't really realize what's up. And again, they're playing with a little bit less of the macro knowledge than you and I would. And so I appreciate that he's doing something, make a decision.
Yeah.
Right or wrong, don't be paralyzed. Make a decision.
Yep. One thing I got to give Statistic credit on this, and this is really good play. He not only has both town centers up, he's using both of them. He is massing up villagers on both town centers, and he is going to get near. He's about to hit 80 vills. So he's going to get near that 100 vill count that we've talked about before.
He has twice as many TCs in less than 1/3 the idle time. That shows a lot.
Right.
And looky there, Kipchak's coming in, Cav Archers.
I'd say based on my read of the last game, and I don't know how this one is going to pan out yet, but it seems like maybe Supermud is a little bit more. I'm just talking about the last game at least. The fights Supermud took were much better. The Statistic, took fights he had no business taking. He lost units he had no business losing. And they were like pound for pound, fight by fight, Supermud won more fights than Statistic did. So there's definitely some strength here on the purple side that he's bringing to the table. It's just hard to compete with an economy that is this, like, it's 35. Give Supermud double this number, bring it up to 70. He would still be nearly 20 vills down under Statistic.
Oh yeah.
And so it's just, with when Supermud loses a unit, it's going to be devastating because he doesn't have the food or the gold to replenish it. When Statistic loses a unit, that's just a, that's a statistic.
In a lot of ways, it's strategy versus tactics. Supermud, gotta hand it to him. His tactics are on point. Teching into a lot of the right units a lot of times. He's taking really good fights a lot of times. So good on him. But you've got to have the strategy to back it up. And a lot of that's the eco.
One of the things that Statistic is doing that I think is interesting is building castles on both sides.
Right.
In order to just kind of try to control the middle. Knowing
got
what
11 Kipchaks so far. Kipchaks, for those of you who don't know, they're a Cav Archer. They fire. Correct me if I'm wrong. They fire multiple projectiles, so the minimum damage is higher.
Right. Yeah, Kipchaks are surprisingly effective versus like battering rams and high pierce armor units, as opposed to a normal Cav Archer, precisely because they fire multiple arrows and all of those arrows do the minimum damage.
At least 1 damage.
Right. In this case, we have Statistic going into Imperial Age.
And here we're going to see it again. Statistic, I don't know if he sees the castles or not, or if he's planning around them or not. But I'll say it again. We've said it before. First person to get trebs up and on target. And on target is important. So the first person to get trebs up and on target a lot of times has the advantage.
Right.
Steppe husbandry coming in for the cumins. That's good as well.
Now, what I've been looking for with Steppe husbandry is he researching that just to research it? Might as well get that out of the way. Or do we see him using it? Because what Steppe husbandry does is it makes your cav archers and your light cav produce 100% faster. So I'll be impressed if he starts massing up a bunch of scouts.
Right.
But if he's not building scouts and he's not building cav archer, and I want to say there's something else that it does too. I'd have to look that up, but
I don't remember. Yeah. One thing I will say for Statistic,
let me see here.
He has the better eco. That can't be denied, but look how many resources are being floated. They don't do you any good unless you spend them. Spend them. A fourth castle or a third castle coming in for Statistic. It looks like he's
Steppe
just going to
Lancers.
walk the castles in until he provokes a fourth castle coming in. He's just walking them up.
That's the other one. It's Scout Cav Archers, and Steppe Lancers are the three units in the stable that produce faster. So if he builds them, that's impressive. If he doesn't, it's just sort of a waste of resources. He can afford it.
Apply to Kipchak.
No, it does not.
Okay. See, if I were Statistic, I'd probably think that it did. And that would be why I'd research it.
No, Imperial... a lot of times the Imperial upgrade does influence the research time, or the build time. So you'll produce an elite unit a little bit faster than you will a normal unit. But...
Statistic and Imperial. The army just kind of sitting here for...
Now, one thing I just saw this. This is a good move for Supermud here. He had a bunch of infantry queued up. He saw Statistic going Kipchak. And he decided he canceled all the infantry and said, wait a minute, I need way more of something that counters this unit. Now, he has chosen to go with Spearmen, which is dangerous. Spearmen do destroy cav archers if they can get up close. But if Statistic is good about running back, shooting, and kiting the enemy like that, then you're going to lose those spears without getting a lot of damage in. Skirmishers would be the better choice here. Because skirmishers are a good anti-archer, and that's including cav archer.
Or scorpions. Scorpions would be a good choice.
Yeah, scorpion, mangonel, something like that. I don't like inching your castles forward quite like this. It takes a lot of stone.
Yeah, it does, and it doesn't really hold much. But then again, if you're just blocking in the approaches on both narrow sides, which is roughly where he's placed them, and you're using your cav archers to dominate the corners, it works. I don't like the lack of aggression because Statistic had the advantage. He could have walked in with the Trebs when he first got him, and he didn't. And now that is closed so significantly. We're now in Imperial, and as you know, Vikings are one of the best post-Imperial civs.
I'll give Supermud credit about this too.
The first pro game I ever watched with you was a Viking v Viking mirror match.
Yeah. One thing I will give Supermud credit for is he is correct in going infantry with the Vikings. But maybe not so much for this particular match, but just in general, what are the Vikings good at? Well, other than their economy, their bonuses are to infantry. They have more HP on their infantry units. And they used to be a pretty good archer civ. Not because they have any specific archer bonuses, but just because their economy was so good that they could afford massive amounts of archers. But in the most recent patch, they lost Thumb Ring, and that means that their archer horde is not as strong as it used to be. Thumb Ring makes archers fire faster and a little more accurately.
Not a little more accurately. It gives them 100% accuracy, which is big.
Well, I was trying. I guess I was trying to distinguish between accuracy and precision because you still need ballistics. But you're right, it is 100% accuracy. Yeah. So again, we got 93. Now here's the thing. I will go ahead and say this: if Statistic just sits here, right? Like right now, it's 41 vills to 93. That's still a huge difference, but I believe the gap is closing.
Right.
And it's incumbent upon Statistic to take advantage of the advantage that he has. He's got to push it to actually try to win this thing. If he sits back, he may give Supermud enough time to get more vills and an economy that will match or perhaps even supersede him.
Here we go.
Yeah, we do see.
Nope, never mind.
38 Kipchaks on the field versus
that has reached death ball status.
Yeah.
So here's what I would be reluctant about. If Statistic pushes through in the wrong position and hits that castle, those Cav archers, they're going to go down pretty hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So here's the thing though. All right, we have elite Kipchak. That's Imperial Age Kipchak, right? Missing blacksmith upgrades, but even so, elite.
Right.
Versus, the menagerie of Viking units, including we've got the feudal age spears, right, and the castle age longswordsmen. I'm worried that if the fight takes place right now, I think the tech difference is too high. Supermud is doing well by getting the blacksmith upgrades. That's fantastic. He needs those, and he needs the infantry armor as well. He's gonna try to tech up in order to make this a good fight.
I also think that we have two different death balls, and they've both reached death ball status of Kipchaks, which is all one unit type. So there's its own problems there. Conversely, we have a significantly sized horde of military, but it's so many different unit types. A lot of the outcome depends on which units end up at the front and which end up at the rear, if you know what I mean. So we will see. And having said that, it's 2 town centers to 1.
And also remember, the Kipchak with its 3 arrows is particularly good, even better than the regular Cav Archer at shooting at masses of infantry.
Sure. And here we go. Look, like I said, if that castle had been placed on that hill, it's a better advantage here. As it is, it looks like Statistic is going to push in and just bypass the castle entirely. I think he's moving in from both directions at once, which I like. He's going to lose a significant number of them to the castle, and I don't like the northern attack, but I think it's just an approach or a mask for the southern attack, and I like that. If you move, you can't sit still.
So here's the real challenge.
Going back along the front, he's microing the archers.
We got the spearmen moving in, but
yeah, don't take that fight there. Don't take that fight there.
Statistic is doing the right thing by shooting and then retreating, shooting and kiting back.
Yep. Statistic, he's got a decent number of Kipchaks in the south. If he moved into the eco now, he'd decimate it.
So because Statistic is winning this, I'm going to kind of focus on him for a second. Like, you're doing a good job kind of kiting over here. So now's the time to take this and just send it into the economy and, just put that extra mental bandwidth strain on your opponent. He is definitely winning the fight, though. He's thinning out the numbers. When this fight started, Supermud was, as far as the KD goes, he was up 5 kills on Statistic. Now he's down 17. So, yeah, so it ended up being a 21 KD up for Statistic now. I gotta say, too, the other thing, where are the Trebs?
I agree.
Where are the Trebs? You have 4,000 wood and 1,300 gold. I guess, again, it's one of those things for, I think for Statistic too, for all of these players. Again, it's their first ever 1v1, or maybe their first one in years, 1v1 game. So I'm just pointing this out as something for, next time. When you hit Imperial Age, those trebuchets are, game changers. And I think all he needs is just a couple of them, just one or two right here. Takes down that castle, and all of a sudden, yeah, this is good.
Yep.
This is good though. The kiting is important.
I
here we go.
have a lot of respect for it. A lot of players, they'll just get a death ball and be like, well, maybe I'll lose one or two, but hey, I'll win overall. Statistic is like, no,
Yeah.
we're going to kite anyway.
There's a patience here to this that is very commendable. You're right.
Some knights coming in, but you want the knights to attack along with the berserkers. They're going to get just slaughtered otherwise. First, second, yep, one at a time, the knights go down. Each Kipchak firing 3 arrows, that's a lot of damage.
We have 6 trebuchets on the west side.
Now, if you're Supermud here, this is just maddening because
Yeah.
you've got a sizable horde of units, which you're just not going to be allowed to close.
Right.
This is why you go into skirmishers. You need a unit with
Right. You want a unit with
range.
range that also has a lot of high pierce armor and counters archers, and skirmishers are your guy there.
No matter how fast your berserkers are, they're not going to chase down cav archers. It's just not.
This also serves as a good image for why historically it's been the case that infantry have not been a meta choice. It's typically rarer to see infantry because they lack the speed of cavalry and they lack the range of archers, and so it's just too easy to kite them often.
Look at this. Did you see Statistic's use of the bottleneck down near the southern gap? He pulled right outside to where only 1 or 2 berserks could attack at a time.
Yep.
And he just shot them as they tried to come through. Excellent use of the bottleneck.
Yep. Yeah, this game is, I don't quite see how Supermud turns this around.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult, if it's possible, road back. 2 hordes, and as soon as Statistic decides to bring in the trebs that are sitting there while he micros the first death ball, if he brings the northern horde to bear while microing the south, that's game over right there. Even aside from that, Statistic, I don't think, has lost a single unit ever since you did the last KD evaluation, and it's only gotten worse.
Yeah. He still has lost only 16 units over the course of this game. Supermud has lost 104 if you include the boar. So it's just one of those things where infantry is simply not. Infantry gets countered by cav archer. And
second death ball moving in. Kipchaks supported by trebs, or trebs supported by Kipchaks, depending on what you want to say.
I think it's one of those things where it's sort of, to Supermud's credit, I mean, he sort of is drilled in on one kind of unit, infantry in this case. It worked so well last game with the Teutonic Knights. Even though he lost that game, it was absolutely the right choice to go Teutonic Knights, and it devastated Statistic's conic plan. Here, Statistic goes archers, and infantry are... The same commitment is working against him because he's getting countered so hard by the cav archer.
Correct.
This game is over.
Attack from both prongs. There's not really anything. You can't even rabbit at this point just because of the map.
Right. Yeah, you're blocked in so heavily.
Yes, 6 trebuchets. Just 8 trebuchets. Only 6 working, but still. Will just obliterate a castle in no time.
Now, I want to point out, again, one more thing for Statistic, just to take moving into the next game, is he stopped at 93 vills. Which
Say that
is,
again?
I said, one thing for Statistic to take into the next game is he stopped at 93 villagers.
Yep.
Which is, I mean, it's stopping at 93 is a lot better than stopping at 90, whatever, at a lesser amount. But I think he could go further. Normally, the pop limits are at 200. I think Supermud may have accidentally set it for more than that. But with a 200 pop limit, you often want at least 100 bills. It doesn't really make a difference in this game, but something to keep in mind is just to push that much further. You've got a great number on wood. Maybe put 10 more on wood, or even better, put 10 more on gold if you've got it. Get your gold numbers up even further. And blacksmith upgrades. Get leather archer armor.
Supermud got a lot of blacksmith.
No, no, he did great. No, I'm sorry. I'm talking about statistics. Supermud did very well with blacksmith upgrades.
Yes.
I think he did a great job with that. But I'm saying with statistic, particularly when you have 12,000 wood in the bank, you got 28,000 food, 5,000 gold. Yeah, again, you got me with the archers. GG. Yep. And this game is in the bag. Statistic takes quarterfinal B. Well done once again to both players. Really well done on both sides. Really, both Supermud and Statistic should be very proud of their performance here, the work they put into this. Once again, for both players, I think if this is your first time ever playing a 1v1 match, this is impressive stuff.
This is really good.
And I mean, you guys could both go into, ranked with this and find people to take on. And again, this is really, really solid. Well done. Applause to both Supermud and Statistic. I think ultimately, just to kind of give this a wrap up here, I think that the Cumin Civ choice worked out perfectly. Where you get that extra town center, that means you get to pump out those villagers. That was really well done. I like the Viking choice too. I think it's one of those abilities where you could just fire it and forget it. You pick Vikings and you're gonna get that wheelbarrow upgrade. You're gonna get that handcart upgrade. So that's a really good one too. But ultimately, just the Kipchak was the perfect counter to what was going on there. And whether you're talking about economically or militarily, Statistic and the Cumins just ended up being the right choice in the right situation. Any kind of closing thoughts on that one, Jonathan?
No, I think you pretty much called it. Again, with the Cumin Town Center was done. It's always a risk, but I think it was a well-informed risk.
Mm-hmm.
Figured he could probably get that TC up and churn out the eco, which is exactly what happened. I liked the Vikings on the map, to be honest with you. I think that was a very strong pick, especially because if you wanted to push through that lake and get some ships over to the other side, you could. I don't know what kind of damage you do, but it's an option. So I like the Vikings pick. You both knocked it out of the park. What I did not see was some of the more cliche civilizations. I definitely liked seeing the somewhat off center, not off meta, but off center strategies, and I liked it. I liked that you both got relics.
Yeah, I love that. Out of every game we've seen so far, is players are putting a priority on the relics, and in some of these games, that's made the difference. Whether it's been because people are running out of gold, or because I don't have enough villagers on gold, those relics have made up the difference in several of these games, and that's been really powerful. I love the Vikings choice. Like I said, I think not so much because of the water. I don't consider Vikings exclusively a naval civ, but I like it because of the adaptability and the economic aspect. You have a flexibility with the Vikings that I think is matched by few. Maybe the Byzantines are another one who are a good flexible all-arounder civ. I really like the choice here. Again, the Cumins, I think Statistic went in with a strategy that panned out. It's a good job to him.
I also say I like that both sides walled. A lot of times with this, you see civilizations just like they'll throw down a tower and be like, oh yeah, that'll stop them. And much like the French, you learn that, gosh, if the enemy just ignores it, it doesn't really do much good.
Right.
Whereas in this game, we see walls from both civilizations. Statistics weren't complete per se, but they were matched by two, or guarded. The open pass was guarded by two castles. So well done on both sides for the walls. I liked seeing Supermud's use of houses to support
Yeah.
his initial walls. So well done on that.
I agree. Well done to both players. Congratulations to both of you. Congratulations in particular to Statistic for moving on into the semifinals. But with that, I think we're going to close it for this one. Good luck, guys. Have a great one out there.